Hi, everybody. This is Amy Sanchez, Executive Career and Leadership Coach, here to talk to you all about networking. Now, let me just make sure that we're all good, that this is live, and jump in here and see what you all are seeing. Okay. Good. Okay. So a few things that we're going to cover today. But before I get into that, I want to share with you a story about what I experienced when I was in my corporate career and how I've seen networking work across so many different areas. Back when I was in a senior marketing role for a startup company, I live and work in Silicon Valley, and so working for a startup company is practically a right of way out here. I got laid off. The entire commercial organization got laid off because what we realized in our marketing metrics was the efficacy of the product was extremely low. And so the company made the right decision to cut commercial and go back to an R&D model. Even though it made sense from a business standpoint, it was really, really hard from an emotional standpoint, the roller coaster that you go through when you get let go. I did what I see a lot of people do as soon as I started job searching was to hit the job boards. And I started applying for roles. I started to, I became quite desperate, to be honest with you. I applied to everything I could, talk to as many recruiters as I could, because to me, lack of job was really scary. I reached out to some friends and colleagues to chat simply because I just needed help along the way, and I needed to talk it out. And it was through a conversation with a friend / previous colleague who where I found my next role. It was literally as simple as that. I gave her a call, told her what I was going through, told her what I was looking for, and she said, "Oh my gosh, this company just reached out to me. This could be a perfect match for you. Do you want me to connect you?" Yes, I do. Hence, my next job appeared, and this was a very short time span, but it goes to show how important networking is. So this is something that I've not only seen in my own personal career, how effective networking can be and how it trumps job boards, and I'm going to show you some stats about that later. But also, it's a really good place to start your job search. And I've seen this with my clients too. As I work with my clients on finding jobs that they love, strategic networking is a really important part of our journey. So I'm going to give you some insight into what that looks like. So my name is Amy Sanchez. I'm an executive career and leadership coach. I partner with corporate leaders to help them navigate key transitions with joy and ease so they can increase their happiness, their impact, and their earning potential. 3 things that we're going to cover during today's session as it relates to networking. This is going to save you time. It's going to save you energy. It's going to help you find what you're looking for faster. First of all, the best ways to approach networking, even if you despise it. When I talk to people, there are many, many, many people who say that they really dislike networking. In fact, the word itself just is abhorrent to them. So we're going to talk about how to embrace networking or look at it differently so it really works for you and it doesn't scare you. Next, we're going to talk about how to bake networking into an already packed schedule. You guys are super busy. There's a lot happening. There's very little time to add any more. I'm going to show you how to incorporate networking in a way that's not going to throw you off track or make your life any busier or harder than it already is. And then finally, how to approach networking to secure the job you want. A little inside scoop into the work that I do with my clients. I'm going to share that with you all today for free. So here are some important stats. I always like to start with the figures. According to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics and Yale University, 70% of all jobs are found through networking, 70%. If you're at a senior leadership level, this number is even higher. Only 5 to 10% of executive job seekers are going to land jobs through a job board. So this means if you have started your job search and you have started to hit the job boards, which many of us do, laying in our bed at night, scrolling through the job boards, looking for a job that will save you, get you onto your lifeboat, That's not where you want to start. You want to start by getting really clear about what you want and networking. And then finally, get this, networking trumps applying directly for a job by a factor of 3 to 1. So you definitely want to hone in on networking to optimize your chances of landing the role that you want faster. Okay. To all my introverts out there, if you just despise the word networking, I have good news for you. There are tricks that you can do to help you reframe the way that you think about networking. So, it's likely that you dislike networking because the way that you recharge is by being alone, not by being with other people. So, in order to increase your chances of success, incorporate your networking meetings into days when you have few meetings, days that you're going to have less interaction with other people. This is going to help ensure that you have the energy and the time to spend with people when you are networking, and it's going to increase your odds of success as well, because you're not going to feel as drained. Also, try to reframe networking. A lot of people just tell me, yeah, I don't like networking because I don't like to inconvenience people. You're not inconveniencing people. In fact, if you feel that way, you probably will give off that air, give off that vibe when you chat. Try to reframe networking as simply learning and connection. It's not you begging, asking, pleading for somebody to help you. It's about you connecting with somebody else to learn. And who knows, down the line, they might help you now. That might be something that you're looking for now. But eventually you might be able to help them as well. So don't consider it an inconvenience. People like to help other people. In fact, you're probably doing the same for others. Finally, what's been really interesting about this pandemic is it's changed the appetite that people have for strategic networking remotely. So when we used to think about networking, it was all in person. It was conferences, it was shaking hands, it was trying to figure out what your elevator pitch was and passing out business cards. The future probably will still have some of that. Hopefully it will, because there's a lot of benefit to that. But we're seeing networking be more and more embraced as a remote exercise as well. So a really great way to network is by finding somebody who could be a good connection for you on LinkedIn, for example, and then setting up time for a casual Zoom conversation. This doesn't have to be stressful. It can be very casual. But again, for all you people who are, for everybody who considers themselves an introvert, if you do it in a way where it's remote, it can actually ease the burden and not zap your energy as much. As it relates to how to network, the best way is live and in person, hands down, because when you look somebody in the eyes and you see them and feel their presence, there is a stronger relationship naturally that forms. The second best way is through Zoom, some sort of a video conferencing. The least best way is through a phone conversation. So if you can, try to look at the person that you're networking with. Something really powerful happens with human beings when they can see each other in their eyeballs and sense their energy and read their body language. Those of you who have studied body language and how much it offers communication or how much extra it brings to communication, you'll know that that's an important aspect. So try to do it as close to in person as possible. Okay, how do we bake networking into an already packed schedule? You guys are busy. You're running from meeting to meeting. On top of that, you've got a home life. You've got you've got obligations to take care of to run the household. It is really hard to find any free time in this day and age. The best way to bake networking in an already packed schedule is, and this is going to sound simple, but put it in your calendar. It doesn't get done unless it's in the calendar, right? So if you let your calendar organically fill itself up, and by the way, there's a strategy for this as well. you're going to find that networking is going to add a lot of extra stress because there's just not time in your already packed schedule to incorporate networking. So instead, add it to your calendar. Maybe it's once a week. Maybe it's on a Friday when you're feeling sort of more easygoing and less stressed out, where it can just be an enjoyable exercise. But put it in your calendar. Don't let anyone else take that time, and dedicate that to networking with somebody who you want to connect with. Also, before you start networking, get really clear on what you're looking for. The last thing that you want to do is get on a networking call with somebody, start your conversation, build the camaraderie, and then in the end they say, "How can I help you?" And then you come up blank. Make sure you know what your CTA or your call to action is before your networking call. Get really clear on it. What are you looking for from this person who you're connecting with? Is it you want to learn more about the company? You want to learn more about the role? You want to learn about the hiring manager, the team, the vision for the company, the opportunity? Perhaps you've seen an open position on the job boards. That's a great way to use the job boards. And you simply want this person to give you a referral, which can help them and you, because if you get hired, they get a referral bonus for many companies. So think before you jump on a networking call, just think about what it is that you want to achieve. Finally, when you network, be genuine, be respectful, be yourself, laugh, be at ease. And low-hanging fruit, although it's something that not a lot of people think about, follow up your interaction with a thank you note. It's so easy, but it's so often missed. After you speak with somebody, just send them a nice, friendly note, perhaps a reference, something that you spoke about, and make sure that they know that you appreciate their time. I love this quote from Maya Angelou, and probably a lot of you have heard it. People will not remember what you said, but they remember how you made them feel. So if you can leave an interaction with a positive feeling, people are going to want to help you and they're going to remember you. Okay, finally, how to network to land the job you want. I'm going to tell you a story about one of my clients to help with this point. I had a client named Ben, and when he came to me, he was in a senior marketing position at a startup company. And even though he was in a senior role, he did not have a seat at the leadership table. These strategic, important conversations that directed company direction were happening without him. And it was different from what he'd experienced before. And he felt extremely demotivated because he wasn't a part of these meetings. And he wanted to be, and he had the talent to be. So when he hired me, the goal was to find a new role that he liked. And what's interesting is, as we started to go through the coaching exercises that I take my clients through, what we uncovered was the thing that he really loved to do was he liked to help solve problems. In fact, he liked to help solve problems that nobody else liked to solve, the really hairy, dirty problems that nobody else wanted to take on because it was too detail-oriented or it was too hard or there wasn't enough visibility. He thrived off solving those problems. So as we started to help him gain this awareness and then frame up where he wanted to go next in his career, which is a really, really important step before you start networking, is to get clear on what you want out of your career. And if you don't know what that is, if you haven't figured out what it is that you like, don't worry. I've got a free masterclass coming up on September 10th, and I'm going to take you through how to do that. If you're ready now, you can always apply for a free discovery session. But as he was starting to get clarity about what he wanted to do next, he realized that he wanted to be in this more strategic role, moving more from marketing to a COO role. So he started to test and learn in the current environment that he was in, while he started strategically networking. And two things happened when he found his zone of genius, discovered what his strengths were, and got super clear on his future vision. In his current company, he started to solve one of their most pertinent problems. as it related to getting funding. Because of that, the CEO saw the work that he was doing. It laddered directly up to the motivations that the CEO had, and Ben's boss got let go. Ben was promoted, and he got weekly meetings with the CEO to help them solve these very important challenges that they were trying to solve to help them get extra funding. In parallel, he started to reach out to his former colleagues through strategic networking and found a role that was perfect for him. It set him up to get into that COO position. It was a company where he could have a larger impact and a management structure that he felt very comfortable and secure in. So once you figure out what you want to do, you figure out what your zone of genius is and line those things up, and then pair it with strategic networking. Boom, the future is yours. It sounds simple, but I've seen it happen time and time and time and time again. So if you're in the place now where you're looking for a job, what you'll want to do is first of all, when you start reaching out to network, get super clear about what it is that you want out of your next role. As you start to identify people that you want to talk to, you can leverage your LinkedIn network, your past university network. You can leverage your neighbors, leverage past colleagues. Think about each and every network that you have that you can tap into. I talk to a lot of people out here who have done their education, their advanced education in different countries and then moved to the US for a job. And one of the complaints that I hear is, I just don't have a very big network out here. My network is back in India or Europe or a lot of different countries that the clients that I've worked with have come from. But the fact is, as we start digging, we realize that their network is larger than they think. Number one, because we're in a global economy now, and that's true more than ever now that most of us are remote. And number two, your network is not just composed of people you work with. It's also composed of people who live around you and people you interact with, people your kids go to school with. Think about how to grow your network from every different sector of people that you interact with. And 100% of the time, you find somebody who can help you get to where you're wanting to go. Also, as you start to approach people in networking conversations, make sure that you, particularly if you're in a situation where you're really desperate to find a role, try not to let that desperation seep through. People recoil from desperation. So you'll want to do some energy management work to make sure that you're coming across the way that you'd like to. It's really important that you exude the right confidence and the right energy as you start networking. And so the people that you're reaching out to have confidence that you are a good candidate and that if they refer you and pass your name along, that you're going to represent them in the best light possible. So if you are currently looking and that's understandably, you're really nervous about finding your next role, have confidence. It's going to work out. And if that's a real struggle for you, that's something that we can work on together. But just know that you're exactly where you need to be and you're going to find your next role. Just put the work in and it will happen for you. So that is what I had to share with you today as it relates to networking. I hope there were some helpful tips in there. Just to recap, if you're an introvert, find ways to connect with other people via networking on days that aren't packed with other interactions. Try to reframe the way you think about networking. The best way to make time for networking is put it in your calendar, commit to it. Don't let anybody else take that time. And a little bit over over an extended period of time will go a long way. Be very strategic in your networking. Get clear on where you want to go, what your focus is, what your target is before you start networking. And so you know exactly what your CTA, your call to action is as you start to chat with people and put the intention out there, what you're looking for. Law of attraction. It's going to come to you once you really get clear on where you want to go. And finally, think about your network that you have access to and tap into them in an authentic way where you're respecting their time, send thank you notes, and know what you're going to ask for in each and every call. I'd like to invite you, if you are currently looking for a job and you don't only want to find a job, you really want to find a job that you love, to come to my free masterclass that I have. I'm hosting on September 10th at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to put the registration link here. I meant to do that earlier. Let me go ahead and do that now. And so if you're so inclined to join me and learn more, I do have a lot more that I can share with you. That's going to give you a really, really, really good head start. This is going to be action-packed with information that you're not going to want to miss. And by the way, I don't know if any of you have tried LinkedIn Live yet. It's really clunky, beta versions. So I don't see anyone live on this broadcast, but I hope somebody watches and it's helpful moving forward. My name is Amy Sanchez. Please reach out if you are looking for help finding a job that you love via applying for a discovery session, and come join me in the masterclass on September 10th. All right, everybody, take care.